Indiana. Her son was actually shot and killed. And after the funeral, it was too hard on the sister, and the sister ended up taking her own life a couple of days after the funeral.
Hold on for a minute, let me count mine. You know. Ask me what I'm doing, just grinding. Haters wanna hate, let them hate, never mind them. Be more bins, tryna reach the next plateau. And I can't stop till I achieve my goals. Keep a couple feet inside the photos. So official with the vibe, you can kick up my zone. Hold on for a minute, let me count mine. You know.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Damian Cryer, and I'm back with another video. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed, and amazing day today. If you have not subscribed to the Cryer family, all you gotta do is turn that bell on. Also, I will be dropping a link to my new prank channel in the description box down below, so please go on over there and follow me on that channel right now. Those videos on that channel you will also see on the Damian Cryer Facebook page. So go on over to Facebook, to the search engine. All you got to do is type Damian Cryer in the search engine. It's going to take you right over to those videos. Some of the videos that you will see on my on the Damian Cryer Facebook page, you will not see on YouTube. So guys, every single year around this time, I do a special video, you know, in remembrance of my son, Deontay. As you guys know, I was recently over in Indiana a few weeks back, maybe about 3 weeks ago. I actually plan on going back over there here very, very soon. But anyway, as you guys know, I lost my son back in 2017 to a drowning in Lakeside Park. It's something, you know, basically that I will never forget about. I wake up every single day, man, with hurt in my heart, you know, knowing that my son is not here anymore. Even when I go to sleep a lot, I go to sleep just thinking to myself, man, I'm never gonna be able to see him again. You know, he used to pull up to my house. Like, I hear his music coming from like 3 blocks away. My son was the type of person, he would get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like his dad, he loves to go to the casino. He loves to go fishing. I would be in my room getting ready for work at 5:30 in the morning, and it's still dark outside, and I hear the loud music coming down the street. And I just know, why is this thing going off? My watch keeps going off as if I'm gonna start jogging or something. But 5 or 6 in the morning, I'm getting dressed for work, and I would hear the loud boom, 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 boom coming down the street. And I would just know that it was my son pulling up to ask me, can he use my boat, or was I off today? Because Deontay, like, he didn't take my word for it. It was like days I said, well, I had to go to work, but there was days I was actually off work, and I wanted to just spend those days just resting up because I worked so many hours during the week. So I used to actually tell him I had to work, but really I didn't want to hurt his feelings because I was at home in the bed really trying to get rest because I was so tired, like working 12 hours every day, 5 days a week, man. And then going in, working Saturdays, 8 hours, and then working 4 hours every Sunday. It just took a toll on me. So he used to come by anyway, just to see if he seen my truck in the driveway. I had a car and a truck at the time. I had an old F-150. It was something similar to this one that I'm driving now, but it was like a much older model. And I remember him, like, he would, you know, he knew that I drove my truck to work every day. And he'd pull up to see if my truck was there. And if he seen my truck in the driveway, he would see my car parked right behind my truck. So he knew I was home. So he would text me early, hey Dad, the message would read, hey Dad, let's go do some fishing. I'm on my way fishing. And so he knew my butt was in the house. And so even though I didn't get up and go fishing, I still got up and went outside. It was like, what's up, man? What you headed to? He was like, I'm going to get him early in the morning. He would get up so freaking early in the morning. Like me, I was like, I'm gonna get up and go fishing at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. No, not my son Deontay. He would get up, man, at 4:30, 5 in the morning and be on the water, like before the sun even come up, because he always wanted to be the first one there. And it's just like the littlest things like that, man, it's hard for me to ever forget. And like I say, all of us as human beings, we all have experienced the loss, man, whether it was a grandmother, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your uncle, your sister, you know, a child. And I will say this, man, losing anyone that's in your life, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts bad. But losing a child, man, it hits different. It hits so much differently when you lose a child. It's really kind of hard to explain, you know, and I wouldn't wish losing a child on anyone. I did a video 2 years ago when I was in Indiana, where I actually went to the cemetery and seen my son. And I'm gonna tell you guys, it was very, very emotional. It was very, very emotional. It was one of the hardest things that I believe I ever had to face in my life, because I believe that a child should bury their parents, and I don't ever believe that it should be the other way around. You know, when I worked at the steel mill, it was this owner of the steel mill. His name is Massimo Amandoni. He lives in Italy. He actually owns the Valbruna in Italy, and he owns the Valbruna steel mill in Indiana. And I've been gone from the company for almost 3 years now, because I lived out here for almost 3 years now. And one day, we heard that the owner, Massimo Amandoni, was coming to town to visit our steel mill to make sure that we were running right and everybody was doing what they're supposed to do. And how we knew that he was coming to town is because they put a notice up a week earlier saying we have to make sure that we clean the place up. We had to mop the floors. Yes, the steel mill guys, they had to make sure the place was in tip-top shape for when Massimo Amandoni walked through that door. And during the time that I lost my son, there was a lot of other horrible things that had taken place in my life that just, it changed the whole entire trajectory of my life. Literally, it changed the whole trajectory of my life, man. So one day, everybody went to lunch, and I sat at my machine and had lunch because I was really torn up about the passing of my son. And as a matter of fact, this was the same week that I lost my son. It was a week after I lost my son, guys. I'm sorry, because we had already buried him. And I remember everybody went to lunch that day, and I sat at the machine, just, you know, eat my noodles, my ramen noodles or whatever. And just so happened while everybody was at lunch, Massimo Amandoni had came through the door. He came through the door, and I didn't even know he came through the door because the door was behind me. And I just had my head down, eating and playing on my phone. He walks up to me, he said, "Hello, Damien, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, Massimo." So now I'm like standing up like, "Hey, you know, how you doing, sir?" I mean, this is the big boss walking through the door. So of course I got to give him his respect. I mean, he signs my paycheck. So he basically stood there for a few minutes and talked to me, and it was something that he's never done with anyone, because when he walks through the door, he's skipping off formalities. He's only there to see how his business is running. He don't want to see you kissing his butt, sir, this. He just want to know how his business is running. But that day, he stood there and talked to me for a couple of minutes. And one thing that he said to me, he said, "Damien, I heard about your divorce." No, he said, "I heard about your separation, and I heard about your son passing." He said, "I'm sorry to hear about what you're going through." He shook my hand, and he said to me, he said, "You're going to be okay." He said, "There's people going through worse things that you're going through, Damien." And, you know, I just looked at him because I wasn't trying to hear that. And then he just was like, "One day when you get a chance," he said, "go to any hospital in the U.S. And he said, go to the cancer ward and he'll say, and he said, then you will understand what I mean when I say somebody's always doing worse than you. And I didn't understand what he meant by that. But I guess as weeks went by, it really dawned on me what Massimo Ameduni was saying to me. You know, you got people that's on the cancer ward, babies, children, adults, grown people, older people, that's fighting for their life every single day, knowing that at any given moment, it could be their last day. And it took a lot for me to actually try to heal over losing my son. But at the same time, I wake up every day and it still hurts. People say that it gets better with time, you know, and I want to be an encouragement to somebody who's going through something similar. It does get better with time, but the pain never goes away. The pain never goes away. And so I asked myself one day, actually I asked myself this multiple times, but one day I asked myself, when I pass away and when I go to heaven or wherever I'm going to go, because I did a lot of bad things in my life, man. I'm not going to sit here and cap. I have did a lot of bad things in my life. A lot. I mean, a lot. So I don't know where I'm going to go when I leave this earth. Whether I pass away today, tonight in my sleep, or a few years from now. But I ask myself, when I go where I'm going, will I see my son again? Will I see all of my loved ones that I lost? My mom, my grandmother, my little brother, my grandfather. Will I potentially meet my dad one day there? You know, and I don't know if I'm the only one who does that. Like, am I the only one who wonders if I'm gonna see the people that I lost when I get to where I'm going? You know, we all want to believe that there's a higher power, that there's something bigger than us for us all to exist. And I am one of the ones who do believe in a higher power. You know, because there's something bigger than us that has us all here right now. There's a reason why we are here. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who asks myself that question when I get where I'm going, where I meet the people that I lost. Because over the years, like, it wasn't just like when I lost my son, you know, it made me move out of Indiana. There was a lot of factors that caused me to move out of Indiana. You know, I was in that apartment for a few years after I lost my son. And, you know, I just felt so lonely inside. Like, you know, I didn't really have anybody. Even though I had family and have family, you know, back in Indiana, I just, at the time, I felt really, really lonely. And I was really going through like a really hard time of depression where I didn't want to eat. If you guys remember when I first started doing YouTube videos, I was 240 pounds. 240 pounds. After everything had happened with me and unfolded, I had dropped all the way down to 190, 198. And I didn't even realize it, because at the time I was still working in the steel mill. But I found myself putting little holes in my belt to make my pants fit. And I kept thinking, well, you know, maybe I'm just losing a little weight. But I didn't realize till one day I got on the scale. I think I got hurt at work one day. I had hurt my finger at work and they sent me out to a Ready-Med. And they gave me a drug test and stuff like that. Because when you get hurt in the workplace, they have to give you a drug test. That's procedures anywhere. Workers' comp claims or whatever you call it. And they had put me on a scale and stuff. And I realized just how much weight I had lost. And I realized just how hurt that I really was. But some things don't change, man. You still carry that hurt with you. You know, we seem to think that when we go through stuff in life, that we move to different states and we run and hide, and we discontinue ourselves for communicating with a lot of people, that things will change. But the truth of the matter is, no matter where you go, no matter where you run to, no matter which state you travel to, no matter how rich you become, those same problems that you left with in Indiana is going to still exist in Houston, Texas. Because you're still going to think about all that stuff. You're still going to think about the hurt and the pain and the ones that you lost dearly in your life. You know, Deontay was my firstborn child. You know, he was my firstborn child. And, you know, he wanted to be so much like his dad, man. It's crazy. Like, everything I did is like, he followed suit, man. Like, me growing my hair out, growing braids, he grew his hair out and we started growing braids. The moment I cut my hair, he cut his hair literally like the same day. Then I started growing my hair back, and then he started growing his hair back again. And then I cut it, and right before he had passed away, he had cut his hair again. But it's like so much run through my mind when I think about it. You know, this ain't like a boyfriend and girlfriend breakup or a husband and wife separation or divorce where people say, well, just move on. You know, a situation like this, you never move on from. You never come back from it. You never forget about it. You know, things do get better in time, but you never fully heal from losing a loved one. I guess I'm not saying that once a year I choose a specific day to remember my son, because I remember him every day. Just once a year, I actually do a video about it, you know, to keep his name alive. Because I know, like, when my son first passed away, like, people were always like, you know, like, even months and years afterwards, people were always asking about him. Like, I would see his friends in the store and they would always ask about it, you know, ask about Deontay. And it's like, you know, now that I'm clear out here in Houston, you know, I don't hear that as much because people out here don't really know who my son was personally versus Indiana, because he went to school with so many people there, played ball with them. Deontay had so many freaking friends, man. He had so many friends. And so, I don't know. It's times like this that's really hard. You know, he has a birthday coming up next month, February 5th. Yep, he has a birthday coming up February 5th. I actually have 3 kids that has birthdays coming up in February. I got Deontay, that's coming up February 5th. I got Darian, who's coming up February 14th on Valentine's Day. And then I have my son Damon, who will be 31 on February 18th, 4 days after Darian. So imagine that I got four February children. So all boys at that. But yeah, so I think like as time starts to get closer to his birthday, I think it makes me feel like a certain type of way. And it's like I put a lot of distance between me and a lot of stuff this time of year. And it's like it's a habit. It's something I do every year. Every year around this time, I find myself slipping into like a little stage of depression. Guys, I don't know what the hell this glare is, man. It's kind of weird, but I'm gonna try to see if I can edit that out there when I upload this video for you guys. But yeah, this is just like one of those times a year, man, where, like I said, around the same time of year, I fall into like thinking real deep about stuff. You know, there is nothing worse, man, than losing one of your kids and always having that fear in the back of your mind of losing another one, man. You know, and I personally know families that's actually happened to, where they actually lost multiple children. I know a lady who only had 2 children, and she lost both of her children within days apart. Literally, she lost both of her children within days apart of each other. She had a son and a daughter back in Indiana. Her son was actually shot and killed. And after the funeral, it was too hard on the sister, and the sister ended up taking her own life a couple of days after the funeral. And I actually knew the mom very well. I knew both of her children very well, you know, and it's a lot of people out there who's dealing with situations like this. And I can honestly say, if you are those people or some of those people, man, prayer really does work. It does. Prayer really does work. So I'm asking you guys who's going through something similar than what I'm going through, man, prayer does work. Keep God first, keep praying about your situation, and just know that things is gonna get better. I mean, if it works for me, it will work for you. And even at the worst times of when things like this do happen to us, the last thing that we're trying to hear is prayer. We don't want to hear that mess. We want our babies back. We want our children back. We want the ones back that we lost. We don't want to hear nothing about no prayer. But the honest truth of it is, prayer really does work. You know, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what type of news that we're going to wake up to the next day. And that's one thing that I go to sleep with every night, you know, waking up to bad news. You know, I got children in different states and stuff. I got children that's on the road a lot. That's on the road a whole lot. And I'm always scared for my kids, man, just like any other parent. You know, I remember when Deontay was born, I said, I'm gonna always protect you. I'm gonna always protect you, son. And I used to always tell him that, even as he was growing up. I said, Deontay, I'm gonna always protect you. And I just feel like I just let him down. I feel like that I didn't protect him enough for what happened. And so many years that went by where I actually, guys, this is a true story, I actually blamed myself for losing my son. I actually blamed myself for my son losing his life. You know, and it took a lot of convincing over the years that it wasn't my fault. And I always said that I blame myself for my son losing his life because I'm the one who introduced him to fishing. I'm the one who taught him how to fish. You know, he wanted to be like his dad. He wanted to do everything that his dad did. You know, did my son have some bumps in the road on the way coming up? Yes, he did. You know, but we all have bumps in the road coming up. Now, he was a damn good man. He was a damn good dad to his daughter, his only child. He was a good friend. He was a good son, you know, and I really truly miss him a lot. And I wish that he was still here, you know, so we could still be together. I'm trying to still convince myself every day that when I get where I'm going, that I will see my baby again, man. I will. I miss him so much. But it's the reason why I wore these shades in this video, because I do not want you guys to see my eyes. Anyway, man, I love you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just end this video off, and I'll see y'all in the next one.